Hey, what's up everyone? In this video, we'll be talking about the switch case statement in Java. So this is what a switch case statement in Java looks like, okay? You have the keyword switch here, and then in parentheses, you'll have a variable. In my case here, I created a variable called phone, but it doesn't have anything inside of it just yet. And then here, I created another variable called response, which we update depending on what the value of phone is, okay? Now, underneath the switch case header, you'll see that there are different cases, okay? So for the first case, you'll see I use the keyword case, and then I provide a string. And then there's also a colon at the end, okay? So what this means is in the case that the value of phone is this right here, iPhone, then what we want to do is we will get this string and then we will save it into the response variable, okay? And then down here, you'll see the keyword break. Now the keyword break means that it'll skip all the other checks in the switch case, and then it'll continue on with the application. All right, so let's take a look at an example here. So let's say that the value of the variable phone is iPhone, okay? Now what's going to happen is once it enters the switch case, what it's going to do is it's going to look at phone and it'll say, okay, well, if the value of phone is this, then we'll do this, okay? And you can add other lines of code here if you'd like. I just have one for simplicity, okay? And of course, once it gets to the break, it'll skip the rest of the checks, okay? So if we go ahead and run this, you'll see that it prints out you own an iPhone. And also in line 24, notice how it prints out the response onto the console window. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and change this to say Android. If we go ahead and run it again, you'll see that now it says you own an Android phone. Okay, and that's because this string was saved into response. And then of course here on line 24, it prints out the response. Okay, so in the first check, it checks to see if this is the value that's inside phone. If it's not, it'll go to the next one. If it's this one, then it'll run this line of code, okay? If not, then it'll go to the next one, and so on, okay? But what happens if we add a string that is not defined here, something like BlackBerry, right? So what's going to happen is it'll look at phone, okay, the variable, and it'll ask itself, well, is the value of phone iPhone? No, it's not. Okay, we'll go to the next one. Is it Android? No, it's not. So it'll go to the next one. Is it Windows? No, it's not. So if it doesn't match it with any of these, what happens is you have here what's called a default block. Okay, that means that if it doesn't match any of these, it basically has this to fall back on. Okay, so since BlackBerry doesn't match any of these, it's going to print this out. You own a really old phone. Okay, this string gets saved onto response, and then here on line 24, response gets printed out onto the console window. Okay, so we'll go ahead and run that so you could see. See, you own a really old phone. Okay. All right. So there's one more thing that I wanted to show you. Let's say, for example, I give it the value of Android, right? But I get rid of this keyword break, okay? If I were to run this, you would think that this is what would be printed out onto the console window, right? You own an Android phone. I mean, the value of phone is Android, so you would think that this is what's going to be printed out. But we'll go ahead and run this. And you'll see that it actually prints out you own a Windows phone. So the reason this happens is because we're missing the break keyword on there. So don't forget to end every case with a break keyword. It's super important, okay? Because what break does is it skips the rest of the switch case statement and it just continues on with the rest of the application. By removing the break keyword, what happens is it just goes on to the next case, okay? All right, so that is all for this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Thanks.